Good morning. T.I. Dave here with another video by the grace of God. I've been getting hit hard. We both have. But we're trying to make it. As you can see, I've been burning up this morning. But I got some ancient minerals. I haven't tried them yet. I'm going to try them probably soon as I get my responsibilities done around here. So I thought I would jump on and do a quick video after hours of researching and getting nowhere, because I'm not going to just put anything out. I try to research good information that can be used. And today we're talking about behavior modification, PSYOPs, and how it's used. So I hope you're patient with me because I need to read all this. Okay, so some parts are boring, but if you want to learn about stalking and psyops used against you in the behavior modification, kind of influence mapping, then you're going to have to be patient. Just trust me and watch this video all the way through, okay? Because it's important to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. The ultimate goal is suicide, but if they can't drive you to suicide, they want to modify your behavior. For instance, and I'm guilty of it, they've modified a phobia into me, which is agoraphobia. They modified it, okay? Through trauma after trauma after trauma. They can modify people to be scared every time. They modify me with smiley faces. They modify stuff to trigger people, to keep them, whatever behavior they're trying to, they can modify any behavior they want in you if they really roll, if you don't know what they're doing. So I'm trying to pull the veil over. I'm trying to pull the veil from over people's eyes to see what they're doing and why they're doing it. And behavior modification and psyops is one way they're doing it. So please be patient and allow me to read the whole thing, even if it sounds boring in some parts. The first parts, I'm not going to lie, are going to sound a little bit boring. But it's not, I swear, just listen to the whole thing because it's all going to make sense. It all ties in together. I just did 30 minutes of this video trying to, well, not 30 minutes, but I just did about 15 minutes of this video and restarted it because I'm like, man, I can't skip that part. So please listen. Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna have to scroll on up and start over. So okay. And what you got to understand, what I'm fixing to talk about, and I am going to skip some parts. Okay, here we go. So, and it says targeted audience, which targeted audience, when I say targeted audience or TA, I'll just say TI instead of TA. All right. Psychological operations. According to U.S. military, the ultimate goal of PSYOP is to modify the behavior of the TA, targeted audience, TI, target individual. This is accomplished by destroying their will, which itself is brought about by continually inflicting pain. This basic strategy is identical to the Brigadier General John Rawlings Rees, head of Psychological Warfare Division of the British Army, who established the Tavistock Institute immediately following World War I in order to learn how to use mind control techniques to control civilian populations. And this is called the stalking phase of targeting. But he's breaking it down into well, you'll see. Psychological operations are a planned process of conveying messages to a target audience to promote certain attitudes, emotions, and behavior. These messages are conveyed using the line of persuasion known as theme. PSYOPs is basically the use of communication to influence behavior. It's used against adversaries, their supporters, and potential supporters, TIs and their families, friends, and acquaintances. It's defined by the U.S. Army in the following way. Psychological operations are planned operations to convey selected information, indicators to foreign audiences, influence emotions and motives, objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of foreign governments, organizations, groups, and individuals. A targeted audience can be a group or individual. Defined by Joint Chiefs of Staff publication, Doctrine for Joint Psychological Operations as an individual or group selected for influence or attack by means of psychological operations. PSYOPs is used across the entire spectrum of conflict, with or without accompanying military action, from special operations to high-intensity, low-intensity conflict. This includes variations of LIC such as counterterrorism, peacekeeping, civilian military operations, modern operations other than war, irregular warfare, unconventional warfare, Planning for PSYOP is the same regardless of the type of warfare which it is used. It's used in conjunction with all instruments of national power, electronic warfare attacks, surveillance, etc. Most information pertaining to PSYOPs is classified. Despite the Army's definition, which states it is only used on foreign audiences, the evidence presented so far suggests it's being used on civilians domestically in U.S. and everywhere else. Yes, in the Global Phoenix program, which is what targeted individuals are in. As we've seen, it's been officially declared that the military is indeed working with federal agencies in the U.S. during the new war, conducting PSYOP as part of the CMO. Furthermore, Council on Foreign Relations considers PSYOP non-lethal weapon to be used on civilians. A book published by the DoD C4SI cooperative research program entitled Network-Centric Warfare, Developing and Leveraging Information Superiority, mentioned that information operations will be conducted entirely in the civilian sector. Although there seems to be a variety of ways it can be categorized, most military publications has it listed as a type of information operation, previously referred to as command and control warfare. It consists of 5 core capabilities that are used in concert with any related capabilities to influence, disrupt, corrupt, or take over an enemy's decision-making process. They run the PSYOPs. You make bad decisions, destroy your life. Boom. Job done. So they include psychological operations, military deception, so PSYOPs, MILDEC, operations security, OPSEC, and electronic warfare, EW, and computer network operations. Information operations is basically a way of interfering with various systems that a person uses to make decisions. Of the 5, PSYOP, MILDEC, OPSEC have been major factors in most military campaigns. They've recently been joined by electronic warfare and computer network operations. Used in combination, these core capabilities are the primary methods of influence an adversary in this new type of warfare. Other terms used to describe PSYOP include the military deception, effects-based operations, neocortical warfare, political warfare, and psychological warfare. The term psychological warfare is reported to be used in the English language in 1941 as a translation of the German phrase Weltanschauungskrieg, worldview warfare, which means scientific application of terror and propaganda as a way of securing an ideological victory over an enemy. Some researchers use the terms propaganda and PSYOP interchangeably. Military deception seeks to mislead the enemy by affecting all conduits of information which they rely on to make decisions. This includes all systems, groups, even individuals which the enemy uses as source of information. It does this to the point of managing the perception of the enemy. Military deception is similar to PSYOP. PSYOP normally targets groups while MILDEC targets individuals. An individual target for MILDEC may also be a part of a PSYOP group. MILDEC is enhanced by operation security. While MILDEC influences the enemy's interpretation of information, OPSEC prevents the enemy from receiving any unclassified but sensitive information. Now, am I saying the military is running these things on everybody? No, I'm saying they're using this model for behavior modification of targets. Don't mean the militaries are carrying out this model. They're using this is the model that they use to stalk and harass and terrorize what so-called dissidents. Organizations which had a significant influence on development of modern PSYOP include private foundations. We'll skip that. Well, we can go on. Private foundation development modern PSYOP include Private Foundation Manager, Rockefeller, Russell Sage, Ford, as well as the Carnegie Corporation. Some of these groups were involved in research as early as the 1930s. They worked with think tanks such as the RAND Corporation, Council on Foreign Relations, as well as universities such as Princeton and MIT. These groups went into partnership with the military to conduct early PSYOP studies. They kept most of their research classified. And I think I'm going to read structure. PSYOP's core part of civilian military operations is a major component of this new war. It combines military, federal agencies, NGOs, civilian organizations, authorities, and civilian population. It takes place in friendly, neutral, or hostile operational areas. This includes populated civilian areas which no other military activity is conducted. These operations run from civilian military operations centers. Fusion Center. Host nation provides the military or civil assistance in the area operation. This includes civilian resources, materials, facilities, services, administrative support, and other resources. It also includes civilian logistics. Units work with the civilian population in AO, and they don't say what AL, these units are use civilians and resources as irregular forces. Okay, hold on. I gotta pause this. I gotta take this call. I apologize for that. I had to take that important phone call. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Okay, Psyops works with civilian population, and these AO, okay, these units, okay, let's go down. So this is why I had to redo this videos because I didn't explain what products are, and it's going to talk about products when it goes into the isolation, the rumor campaigns, and others. What some publications describe as product, others say is distribution, dissemination method. Others appear to use the term product and distribution interchangeably when referring to the same thing. For instance, a TV broadcast can be distribution method which transmit a product. The internet, which is a part of a battle space, can also be described in a distribution method which contains product. A product is an action, event, or media used to get the attention of a targeted individual and transmit a message. It's also expected to provoke a response in the target individual to achieve psychological objectives. Products are usually typically a part of a line of communication known as a theme to convey a message to the target individual. The products used to transmit PSYOP messages are limitless. The three basic categories of PSYOP products are audio, visual, and audiovisual. Audio products include broadcast, music, telephone conversation, loudspeaker announcement. Visual products include items that can only be seen. Some of these are commercially produced. Print media, newspaper inserts, magazines, leaflets, posters, electronic warfare, V2K. PSYOP audio-visual products use sight and sound to communicate with the TI. This includes TV, video, slides with sound, personalities, theater, internet, face-to-face communication, and performances known as psychological acts, PSYACs. To help create professional quality audio-visual products, PSYOP personnel can use expert contractors with advanced audio-visual studios. Okay. The psychological PSYOP organization. Simplified matters, the term group will mean the largest organization conducting PSYOP. A unit task force will pertain to smaller factions within the group. Okay. Okay, so in PSYOP, the battle space is sometimes referred to as operational area, joint area. You heard me say internet was a battle space. Operating environment, area of operation. Area of operation and portion of the battle space which is under control of a particular PSYOP unit. Area of responsibility, which is charged with the psychological preparation in that area. Okay. Psychological operation groups. PSYOPs units work with civil affairs personnel to form the core of CMO. I forgot what that is. This includes a psychological operations group which plans, coordinates, executes PSYOP activities at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of warfare. The psychological action group may contain a regional dissemination battalion that usually consists of civilian and military experts in the following areas: psychology, communication, political science, language, linguistic, culture, sociology, economics, country specialties, history, and philosophy. All right, let's go down since we've done explain what. These experts profile the target individual in order to decide how to best communicate with them. The Psychological Operations Group provides support, propaganda, product development, media production, tactical production distribution. It has mobile radio monitoring stations that are capable of listening to almost any broadcast on the planet. It's equipped with high-powered AM, FM, shortwave radio transmitters for long-range broadcasting, supported by experts in communications and propaganda. Okay. Okay. Um, all right, we can cover this one. I'm just trying to skip some of this stuff because some of it is um, kind of hard to understand. A tactical PSYOP team is a small group consisting of a team leader, his assistants, and we're going to get to the stalking phase and what they do, the isolation, how they modify in a minute. It's setting it up right now telling you how this whole organization is set up. Now, it don't mean it's not, this is a model, and then it's a model used to target large audiences or a group or an individual. Okay. It's a small group. A tactical PSYOP team is a small group, a team leader, his assistant, PSYOP specialist. They provide planning and PSYOP distribution to larger units. The primary purpose of the team enabled a tactical commander to communicate directly with the targeted individual. When I say communicate, that means run the PSYOPs on them. They monitor the target individual reaction to PSYOP products and advise the commander on their effects. They can modify themes to adjust the situation, but must ensure that they remain within the guidelines. Okay. Here we go. Equipment used can be property of the forces themselves, other government or agents, multinational partners, contracted from local media. Some units are equipped with audio visual studios, printing facilities, other equipment. They also have distribution assets, radio stations, TV stations. Okay, all right, this is the unit. PSYOPs units locate and establish contracts with mass media outlets. This includes newspapers, TV, radio stations. We're going to skip that part because it's giving you a model, but okay. Also worth mentioning, this is important. Digital morphing, which is a technology that's been used by the entertainment industry to manipulate voice, video, and photo media. Not only can a person's video be spoofed by taking a 10-minute digital recording of their voice, but a complete audio-visual file of a person can be created. Would this technology help explain the bogus videos that show author Marshall Thomas, Monarch, the new Phoenix program, doing stand-up comedy routines? Question mark. In addition, morphing allows for graphics to be digitally imported into a live broadcast, basically changing the broadcast in real time. Okay, C4ISR, and I've did a video on this. PSYOPs use C4ISR system, which allows for rapid, interoperable, reliable, secure exchange of information through the chain of command. The system may have centralized control and distribution capability. Units are connected to the intelligence cycle, which continually provide them with current and accurate knowledge pertaining to the target individual, obtained from all available sources in order to update their products. What is a product? Here, let me go back up to products because I don't want to mislead you. I'm pretty sure I can quote what a product is, but I want to get this, and please be patient because I'm fixing to be to the good part. And when I say good part, it's good to know how they're trying to modify your behavior and what their goal is and how they do it. Okay. Distribution, dissemination method. Action, event, or media used to get the attention of a targeted individual and transmit a message. So when I say product, that's what I mean. Okay. Okay. All obtain which continue to provide them current, accurate knowledge pertaining to a target individual obtained for all available sources in order to update their products. This includes HUMINT and SIGINT. The C4ISR system also provides them with any relevant information pertaining to the battle space itself. An example of a battle space is the internet. In addition, C4ISR system allows for generation distribution of PSYOP products and themes. It's not only used for communication, it's linked to the PSYOP production and distribution process. Message and theme which carry triggers that a target individual has been sensitized to are passed to these commanders in order to influence the target individual. PSYOP products are then disseminated to shape the psychological environment. The target individual's reaction to the various products is continuously monitored as they move through the battle space. The information is collected and evaluated through a variety of conduits which allow the planners to quickly adjust the campaign based on the reaction of the target individual. Targeted individual profile. Target individual analysis is necessary to plan and conduct a successful PSYOP campaign. And remember, I'm changing targeted audience, which can mean a group or individual, into target individual. This includes the creation of a profile based on intelligence processes that allows planners to understand how the target individual perceives their environment. Experts in behavioral sciences, religion, culture, politics, linguistics, other subject areas help profile the target individual. The more detailed the profile, the more successful the campaign will be. Factors that are considered include politics, religion, economics, language, race, educational level, affiliations, location, social conditions, history, Tests are conducted to determine the target individual's reaction to a variety of environmental stimuli in order to assess their psychological vulnerability. So now we're getting into influence mapping a little bit. Themes and symbols. Communication with the target individual usually takes place using a theme. After a target individual has been profiled, themes and distribution channels are selected. A theme can be thought of as a series of Psyops products that are used to promote a single message with the intent of modifying the behavior of the target individual. To accomplish this, a multitude of different products which share distinct characteristics can be used to promote a theme. To develop themes, PSYOP personnel use the principles of marketing. The concepts for building PSYOP themes are the same as commercial advertising. Influence mapping. PSYOP personnel use themes the same way marketers use advertising. Themes are used to attack the vulnerabilities of the target individual as well as create new ones which can be attacked. Themes that already have a meaning to the target individual are used. New themes are built on previous ones. Like I said, they have me conditioned with smiley faces. Um, Smiley faces, agoraphobia. They've modified my behavior. And some I've red cars used to get me, but I'm not that way no more. The coughing don't get me no more. Silent personnel understand what current themes are used with a particular targeted individual and are aware of any past themes. Themes are synchronized with all instruments of national power. So themes. So every time I wake up homeless, I'd get a smiley face. As soon as I open my eyes, I'd get a notification on my phone with a message come through with a smiley face. Hope you enjoy the last day of your life. Big smiley face. So they conditioned me. Every day I would get that when I first woke up. They conditioned me to identify anybody that sends me a smiley face or put a smiley face as a perk or as danger. Themes are used to attack vulnerabilities of the target individual as well as create new ones which can be attacked. They already have them. Okay, symbols contribute to themes. A symbol is a PSYOP product spanning the visual, audio, and audio-visual realms that's used to convey a theme. A symbol is something that stands for something else by reason of association. Smiley face. They may be visual, short text, statues, pictures, gestures, music or spoken words, audio-visual, action, personalities. Over a period of time, these symbols accumulate an emotional meaning to the target individual. There are several categories of themes, also called appeals, that can be used to change the behavior of a target individual. Some include legitimacy, inevitability, in-group, out-group, bandwagon, self-preservation. Of particular interest, there are legitimacy and inevitability themes. Legitimacy themes use authority, law, regulations, police, parents, government, and reverence, worshipped entities and religions to influence the target individual. The intelligence agents have done extensive research on how religion can be used to control and attack people. This could explain, okay. Other legitimate themes are tradition, consistency, loyalty, military, friends, family, etc. Inevitability themes rely on fear of death and injury for behavior modification. Inevitability themes stress that the target individual will eventually die or lose. They exploit any successes that the military has experienced as well as any failures of the targeted individual. Any recent tragedies suffered by the target individuals are used in these themes. Themes developed for such tragedies must be distributed quickly, or negative feelings associated with the event will deteriorate. Personal threats of lethal force are also used in some themes. Other types of messages that exploit unfavorable conditions experienced by the enemy can be conveyed to them. Financial, other types of failures, shortage of basic needs such as fuel, food, housing, clothing, medical, racial, religious persecution, precarious situations, inferiorities, and inefficiencies, physical discomforts and hardship, psychological actions. The military also established contact with a target individual using face-to-face communication. Now, I'm saying targeted individual. So when I say military, I don't know if it's. I know this is military tactics being used. Okay, I'm not saying it's the military, but the military uses this kind of warfare too. So it's describing a model that's being used on target individuals also. It's a military model being used on target individuals to profile them, behavior modify them, make them sensitized, and run the psyops and make them destroy themselves through their decisions. Military also established contact with the target individual using face-to-face communication, psychological actions. They're similar. Both are similar. Both are audio-visual products consisting of agents of actions who deliver a message to the target individual. Both require that the people involved follow a set of guidelines while acting to deliver the message. Street theater. Both are used to modify the behavior of the target individual. Face-to-face communication usually involves a single individual addressing another individual or a single individual addressing a group. PSYOPs generally require more planning, more resources, and use multiple people to transmit messages. Organized stalking, gang stalking. They require the coordination of a variety of resources, while face-to-face is simple. Because military documents read vague when differentiating between the two due to their similarities, the term PSYOP will be used to describe both of these for the scope of the study. There are multiple references in military documentation that explain the process of presenting themes in a manner that is consistent with a play or movie production. Words such as sets, props, performance, theater, actors, cast, script, audience are used. In fact, to help create audiovisual products, the military can enlist the services of a theater actor guilds, modeling agencies. Because a PSYOP is an audiovisual product, that means these professional actors ban be used for PSYOPs. Only the limitations of supported unit and planning accomplish the action. And the imagination of PSYOP personnel restrict the variety of operations that can be considered PSYOPs. The people who convey these messages are known as agents of actions, actors, which the U.S. Army describes as persons, units, and agencies that perform PSYOPs which enhance and amplify the overall PSYOP plan. These persons are not necessarily military personnel. Some agents of actions can be key communicators. Key communicators are individuals, including civilians, that the target individual relies on for information and opinions. These individuals are usually seen as trustworthy to the target individual. The military recruits key communicators to convey its messages. The idea is that the message appears to originate from a trusted source. It will seem more credible. That's why I'm very careful of who I bring on and who I let on my show. You got a lot of deceivers out there. People trusting people that they think is all good, and the whole time they're PSYOP actors. And I'm not going to name names. You got to figure it out on your own, because if I name names, then I get blasted all throughout the community as a misinformation leading you down the wrong trail. PSYOPs are, I'm just going to say this, I could have had several people on my show and had been popular a long time ago. But I'm not trying to be popular. I'm trying to get message to the people who want to hear. Okay, let me say this. Some agents of action can be key communicators. Key communicators are individuals, including civilians, that the target individual relies on for information and opinions. These individuals are usually seen as trustworthy to the target individual. The military recruits key communicators to convey its messages. The idea that if a message appears to originate from a trusted source, it will seem more credible. PSYOPs are conveyed by these actors in the presence of the target individual. This doesn't mean that the actors conveying the message are speaking directly to the target individual, only that the target individual is in their presence when the messages are transmitted. PSYOPs can take place during rallies, rumor campaigns, group meetings, lectures, theater, plays, speeches, dances, banquets, fiesta, festival, religious activities, talks with individuals, during interviews on talk radio shows. During interviews on talk radio shows and other social activities, the messages that are transmitted during these events can be subtly included in the presentation. The agents of action follow a general script to convey these messages. These scripts are based on guidelines which allow actors to adjust their message as the conversation progresses so that it doesn't sound fake. Otherwise, it will be rigid and unresponsive to the reaction of the target individual. This type of communication includes keywords or phrases spoken by actors in the presence of their target individual. These messages conveyed by these agents of actions can be the primary topic of discussion, or they can be cleverly planted into the presentation. This is a type of live theater performance that can be carried out in a variety of settings, which can include props that sets that help promote the theme. Preparation of the perception management. Those who design PSYOP campaigns do so to allow for the attack of multiple targeted individuals in the same area. PSYOP personnel change the environment. So I'm going to say audience, because audience can mean a group or individual. PSYOP personnel change the environment to adapt to the different targeted individuals that move through it. This has been referred to as the psychological preparation of the battle space. After a person has been profiled and products and themes have been selected, PSYOP personnel decide on distribution, also called dissemination methods, which are actual delivery of PSYOP products to the target individual. Distribution's physical and electronic methods of linking developers and producers in order to accomplish the distribution of the PSYOP products. Products are distributed through the target individual through audio, visual. Audio, visual means they are referred to as channels, conduits, mediums. Intelligence is used to determine the best delivery channel. PSYOPs units study the channels which the target individual uses to obtain information, then refine products in a manner that is consistent with those channels. Part of the PSYOP production involves tailoring the product to make it compatible with the way the target individuals are accustomed to receiving information. Facts that are considered here include media technique, language, journalistic style. Others include type of art, theater, music, media format that the target individual relies on for information entertainment. In other words, the product is not just tailored to accommodate a particular channel, but the style of a specific channel. I'm not talking about YouTube channel. I'm talking about this means the type of art, music, theater is replicated. In this manner, the product will be blended into the environment, not to appear out of place while still impacting the targeted individual. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying here. And if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. In addition to common languages, each individual has their own personal language known as representative system, which they use to perceive, process, and organize stimuli in their environment. It also serves as a form of verbal and nonverbal communication with others. After learning an individual's representative system, it's possible to establish a finely tuned conduit to communicate directly with them in a language that would only be understood by them. The RAND Corporation explained knowing what the adversary values and using the adversary's own representative systems allow us to correlate values to communicate with the minds of the enemy in the verbal and nonverbal language of the enemy. In order to change the behavior of a target individual, their perception, thoughts, and emotions must be modified. This requires their decision-making cycle is assessed and influenced. Some publications refer to this as perception management. To accomplish this, the entire system which the target individual relies on for information is interfered with. Each and every channel of communication is used as a conduit for PSYOP attacks. The joint publication of July 2006 entitled Military Deception explained conduits consist of all the systems, organization, individual through which information reaches the adversary. According to the RAND Corporation, that's why you got to dig. If you go to Google and you're searching for real information, you really got to go see more results, and it still may not be there. Brave is a good search engine. According to RAND Corporation, almost complete control can be established over an individual's consciousness, perception, decision making, and action. RAND says that the enemy will be paced during each phase of the cycle. For instance, I've had people say, David, I can't find a lot of times I can't find your YouTube channel. I've searched for it and I can't find it. They're controlling the information being thing. And they've even typed in my URL before and ain't found it. So they're not allowing certain people to see my stuff. But they make it hard, which is why that's why you want to paste your videos everywhere if you make a video. Behavior modifier also requires that the target individual environment is changed. Multiple PSYOP products are used in combination to shape the psychological environment of battle space in order to influence the target individual. This is done using many different products as possible. To modify the behavior of target individuals, their environments change using electronic, psychological, and physical means. These electronic, psychological, and physical actions include adding, modifying, removing information from the environment. Obviously, the physical portion of this includes tampering with objects in the environment, electronic warfare, etc. Through maximizing all media assets, stated the Army, and contracting with local companies, PSYOPs personnel will expand their range of dissemination to reach the targeted audience or individual and influence attitudes and behavior. The DoD announced the PSYOPs themes are to be powerfully disseminated directly to targeted audiences for aggressive behavior modification. The information battle proclaimed the U.S. Marine Corps must be fought across all available mediums and no possible channel of communication can be ignored. These attacks are concealed within communication, they describe. This means that literally every single channel of communication that a target individual relies on is interfered with, used to convey PSYOP theme or attacks. Remember, battle spaces is your cities and towns, which by extension means homes and workplaces. A target individual can be a civilian individual, or target audience can be a civilian individual. So that's what I'm saying. Every time I say targeted individual, I'm changing target audience to target individual. If that helps you, because it's the same model used on TIs. All right, here we go. Isolation. Isolating people from their support structure and discrediting them are a standard part of PSYOP. PSYOPs use conduits, counter propaganda. They attempt to defuse any influence that the target individual has on the civilian population in that area. They also seek to establish their own legitimacy. The types of support they deny the target individual include political, financial, human, informational, and other. This covers a wide variety of resources that the target individuals denied. According to a 2003 report by U.S. Army School of Advanced Military Studies, denying the enemy basic human needs may cause them to stop certain behavior until lower level needs are satisfied. Some of these include physiological, safety, security, esteem, value, self-realization, and belongingness. Removing food and water, physiological. Denying them refuge, safety. Isolating them from the populace, belongingness. Discrediting them, esteem. May cause people to seek to correct these deficiencies before continuing with their behavior, the report tells us. The military specifically stated it would deny critical services to the enemy. While it does not describe what these critical services are, it obviously includes proper medical treatment, which can be accomplished when they work with when they work with civilian organizations during civilian civilian CMO. I'm not going to go back up to see what it's something CMO something operations, civil something operations. Okay, rumor campaigns. One way a PSYOP personnel can isolate the target individual by conducting a rumor campaign. Well-planned rumors launched by these people are devastating weapons. The primary elements inside the source, the rumor, the receiver, repeater. In order for the rumor campaign to be successful, the source of the rumor must be credible to the receiver. The rumor itself must be plausible, and the receiver or the repeater must spread the rumor. The rumor will be reduced to the memory capacity of the receiver repeater. This is referred to as leveling. The receiver repeater levels the story by retaining only the information they think is relevant or can be remembered. They also sharpen the story, which means they selectively choose information to retain and expand on when spreading the rumor. Another characteristic is assimilation, where the repeater receiver adjusts the story to fit his viewpoint based on his experiences, prejudice, interests. Synchronizing operations. PSYOP attacks are synchronized with core capabilities. This includes direct energy weapon used for electronic warfare, as well as computer hardware, software, internet attacks, which are part of computer network operations. They also synchronize with all elements of national power. The use of civilian population, civilian resources, private sector. Direct energy weapons, computer attacks, PSYOPs are used in combination throughout the battle space. The Army describes this as unconventional warfare report. The innovative combination of electronic weapons platforming, networking system, strategic and operational level PSYOP, enabled by the net-centric operational environment, creates significant opportunities to seize the initiative and dominate an enemy. Electronic warfare is used to isolate, disrupt, and influence the enemy's use of electromagnetic spectrum. Electronic warfare diminishes the ability of the target individual to perceive and process information by broadcasting PSYOP products over frequencies used by a target individual, jamming and spoofing. Electronic warfare also includes the use of direct energy weapons to attack people, equipment, and facilities. Computer network operations used to attack, deny, deceive, degrade, disrupt network computers used by the enemy. It means destruction of hardware, software, degrading, attacking. Also means spoofing or deceiving. The battle space includes the internet, internet applications that transmit PSYOP messages, including email, websites, chat rooms. When a TI goes online, they're entering the battle space. Our use of terrorism. The U.S. and its allies will terrorize the civilian population to achieve their political objectives. The DoD specifically stated some irregular warfare, such as terrorism and transnational crime, violate international law. U.S. and law national policy prohibits U.S. military forces or other government agencies from engaging or supporting activities. However, since our adversary employ terrorism and transnational criminal activities against the interests of the United States and its partners, these activities are included. An example of the range of operations activities that can be conducted as a part of irregular warfare. Now, in the big scheme of things, do I really believe James Martinez knew what he was talking about when he said politicians. These are people behind the scenes. People don't know about this stuff. This is behind the scenes warfare being conducted on civilians all around the world. Now, and that's why when you call your politicians, they don't know about it because they're not in the loop. These are shadow government people. These are not, they're in the government, but they're not in no political office or nowhere like that. Deep state. And so your average military person going to war, I respect everybody who, all the military that fights for us. I respect this country. You know, I don't respect the people hiding in the cracks and crevices that are conducting neural programming and stalking and all this stuff going on. No, I don't. But, you know, the people that fight for this country and all that don't know nothing about this, that are really doing America a good job, I respect, because a lot of times they confuse target individuals as being anti-American or anti their country, anti-government, whatever, but we're not. We're against the people conducting these experiments. And the way he explains it, a lot of these people that you think know don't know nothing about it. Okay, objectives. The ultimate goal of PSYOPs is to modify the behavior of the target individual. This is accomplished by destroying their will, which itself is brought about by continuing afflicting pain. So there are several considerations here. First, the ultimate goal. Behavior modification, or suicide is the ultimate goal, but behavior modification. Next condition, which will allow the goal to be realized, the destruction of the target individual's will. Finally, specific methods will facilitate the destruction of the target individual's will. The use of pain. To accomplish this, a relentless campaign is used to demoralize the target individual, which includes creating perpetual negative feelings of intense fear and hopelessness. This is done to wear the target individual down and gradually break their will. It's described as the attrition-based approach. It's explained attrition is the product of gradual erosion of the will. The victim of the psychological attrition gradually becomes convinced that nothing he can do will yield a satisfactory outcome to a situation. The word victim is an interesting choice to describe a PSYOP's targets because its themes are used to transmit painful stimuli, also called triggers, which has a targeted individual been sensitized to. These triggers contained in these themes are understood at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of the campaign. They are passed by commanders of a particular organization if the TI moves towards that portion of the battle space. Simplified, PSYOP themes are a series of painful triggers used to generate a particular response. A psychologist who is looking at our efforts says the DoD would swiftly conclude that what we were talking about was nothing more than a series of stimulus and response interaction. That is, behavior we seek to shape is nothing more than a response to a stimulus or a set of stimuli. Messages and themes must be understood at the strategic, operational, and tactical level of war. Themes which contain triggers, thresholds, are directly passed to various actors within the commander's area of operation to combat asymmetric threats. These actors include civilian population. The triggers that they're referring to are part of behavior modification program known as neurolinguistic programming, which uses anchors and triggers to promote change. An anchor is created when an emotional state is linked to something such as an object, person, sound, smell, place, color, etc. This is easily created by deliberately placing an individual in a desired state, then repeatedly subjecting them to whatever the intended stimulus will be until the emotion becomes anchored to it. An anchor can be created in a single instance if the timing is right and the emotion is strong enough. Once the anchor has been established, whatever the individual is exposed to during the anchoring process becomes the stimulus trigger that will invoke the emotion. For example, the image of the Twin Towers falling on 9/11 were shown over and over again in order to anchor the emotional response associated with the horrors of that event. This emotional response can later be triggered as needed. Neurolinguistic programming used by personal growth experts to quickly and massively modify the behavior of individuals and groups. In addition, it can be used as a powerful weapon to deliberately create phobias. Agoraphobia? By surrounding an individual with painful stimuli, it's possible to keep them in a perpetual state of fear or sadness. It's possible to cause them to suffer a nervous breakdown. An intelligence security unit, Army known as Intelligence Security, has conducted much research on neurolinguistic programming. Janet Morris, who worked with U.S. military and various federal agencies, have described how neurolinguistic programming can be used to manipulate people. The RAND Corporation suggests neurolinguistic programming experts should be recruited to help facilitate net war, which includes the battle swarm. These painful messages are repeated and hurled at the target individual over and over through various stimuli and environment and has been psychologically prepped. Pain is inflicted until the victim can stand no more. The application of scientific knowledge can be used to torture people psychologically. As an example, they mention how the Portuguese secret police used psychological torture against the state's internal enemies accomplished by mounting anxiety. It was also used by the KGB against Communist Russia's dissidents. Unlike physical torture, it's more acceptable to the public because it leaves no visible trace. Summary: PSYOP attacks contain painful stimuli that are conveyed to the target individual using a series of products referred to as the theme. The target individual is relentlessly attacked with these stimuli through all channels of communication which they rely on. The painful stimuli are concealed to any casual observer. The target individual's environment's also changed. It could be a civilian individual. The PSYOP is synchronized with electronic warfare, direct energy weapons, manipulation of electromagnetic signals, communication, computer network operations, disrupting and destroying computers and networks and all other instruments of national power. It takes place globally. The battle space is your neighborhoods. PSYOPs uses civilians as irregular forces. Controlling these forces and are NGOs and international groups that work with military federal agencies. Most of modern PSYOP was built by a small group of private interests which were using social scientists to install global government. Some of these are exact same groups promoting the use of PSYOPs on civilians. Electronic attack phase. And I think we will get to that on a different day. That was the stalking phase, and I will continue with the electronic attack phase if I get enough people in the comments to tell me to continue with it. I have a lot of stuff to do today, but I wanted to spend my time. I really think this is one of the most important videos I did as far as operations and seeing how they do it. I'm not saying it's the military doing it. Whoever's doing it is using this model. It all makes sense. So anyway, please let me know in the comments if you want me to do the electronic warfare phase and cover that. God bless.